guys, me it's Frosty, and today I'm gonna talk about the Prot Warrior, obviously. So there's a lot of websites that tells you what each talent does and what each glyph does. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna tell you my personal opinion. If you wanna do that, you can either check Noxic or Icy Veins and do that yourself. So let's start with the talents. Tier 1 talent, double time always. Tier 2 enrage regen always for on use healing cooldown. Tier 3 talents, I personally prefer heavy repercussions because I'm using the 2-set bonus and it's really a good combo. But sudden death is not bad either. For your level 60, I personally prefer Dragon's Roar, but that has to do with your mentality and the way you play your Pro Warrior, and we're gonna go through that later. Then level 75, Vigilance all the time, although you can use Safeguard if you know how to use it, and that's also really efficient. Level 90 talents, you can go either Avatar or Bloodbath or Bladestorm, but that also has to do with your mentality. And I'm gonna tell you that I personally use Bladestorm for AoE fights and Avatar for single target fights. And as for your level 100 talents, you can choose either Ravager or Gladiator's Resolve. I prefer Ravager, but Gladiator's Resolve is also a really good talent, and it just provides a 5% damage reduction passively to your defensive stance. So that's an extra 5% damage reduction. These are my talents mainly. This is my single target build. If I was to go AoE, I just swap Bladestorm. I just use Bladestorm instead of Avatar, and that'd be it. As for the glyphs, there's only one glyph that you must use as a Pro Warrior, and that glyph is Unending Rage. You must have this glyph. This is 20 extra rage, and you must have it all the time basically. Bull Rush is also a really good glyph because it just generates 15% additional rage when you charge, so that's really good on the pull, because you're gonna have your active mitigation sooner than if you didn't have this glyph. And also I use Glyph of Wind and Thunder, especially on AoE fights such as I don't know, Beast Lord and fucking Imperator, fights like that. It's a really good glyph for that. And you can also use Glyph of Cleave if you're on a multi-target fight, especially Cleave fight. It's also a good glyph. Glyph of Mocking Banner just makes your Mocking Banner target the adds to aggro on the other tank, if I can say that. So basically, instead of making the adds attack you, it's gonna make the adds attack the current active tank. And also Glyph of Rude Interruption is also really good, and that one just makes you just increase your damage done by 6% for 20 seconds after successfully interrupting a spell. And then your minor glyphs are basically just visual. You have Glyph of Blazing Trail, which basically just leaves a blazing trail whenever you charge. You also have Glyph of Wind and Thunder, that just makes these thunders when you thunderclap. And also Glyph of Burning Anger, that you just catch on fire when you're enraged. That's it for talents and glyphs. Your rotation, like, you don't have a rotation as a Pro Warrior, as much as you do have a priority, but that's not fixed. So basically you just click whatever the fuck blinks on your bars, and if you're in AoE, obviously you're gonna use Thunderclap as well. Try to prioritize Shield Slam, then Revenge, and then your Heroic Strike procs. If you're almost rage capped, don't forget to spend your rage with Heroic Strike if you're not actively tanking. And then if you are, obviously you're not gonna spend it with heroic strike because that would be fucking retard. And you're gonna use it with your active mitigation, aka shield block or shield barrier. So let's move on to the active mitigation part, and you must understand this. Shield block does not work with anything but physical damage. So shield block, physical damage only, right? And you're gonna want that up as much as you can. You want to have a high amount of a high percentage of active shield block, because the most damage you take is from physical damage. Exactly, physical damage. So shield block is what, like, it's your active mitigation. You must have that up all the time, or obviously you can't have that up all the time, right? But you want to have that as much as you can. And then shield barrier obviously works with every kind of spell and every kind of damage, being it physical or magical. So shield barrier is just a shield on yourself, and that shield, and mind this bit, right guys, this is an add-on that tracks your resolve, right? It's called Inf Resolve. It's made by Method. It's really good because it's gonna track the percentage of resolve you have at the moment. And if you don't know what resolve is, then you should really get familiar with that spell or with that buff, because you're a tank and you must know that. And you should also use this add-on, or at least one that does the same, because you want to track your resolve all the time. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the higher resolve you've got, the higher you're gonna shield barrier yourself. So say you have, for example, 200% resolve, your shield barrier is gonna be fucking huge. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be fucking huge. And if you have no resolve whatsoever, then your shield barrier, it's gonna be like miserable. It's gonna be like 30k, 40k. It's not even funny. While if you have a lot of resolve, you can probably get like 200 plus shield barriers. Fucking huge. So it's really good to track that, and to have in mind the difference between, you should know what kind of damage you're taking, so you know when to use shield block and when to use shield barrier more effectively, right? Although you want to use shield block as much as you can. That's pretty much it. Also have in mind, you can have both of them at the same time. So you can have both shield block and shield barrier active on you at the same time, and I'm gonna show you now, because you don't need to just use one or the other one. You can just have both, and because you have the glyph to increase your rage by 20, then you can really have both. So see, now I'm rage capped, right? And you should never be rage capped, but I'm just gonna show you guys now. You are rage capped and you don't need to go that higher, because you can shield block, see shield block right there, and then you can shield barrier, and that's it. You have both at the same time. So basically you just pull your rage up as much as you can. You need, well, actually you need to be rage capped to do this more effectively, but you can still do it even if you're not. So see, again, shield block right here and shield barrier right here. You can have both up at the same time. So have in mind that, and make sure your active mitigation is up for as long as you can, because that's gonna make you a more effective tank defensive wise, obviously. So moving on to defensive cooldowns, what you have here for defensive cooldowns is shield wall, which is your biggest defensive cooldown that reduces all damage you take by 40%, right? 40% is, it's your biggest damage reduction cooldown. After that you have demoralizing shout, which basically makes anything in, I think it's a 10-yard range of you to hit you for 20% less. Also you've got last stand that increases your health by 30%. Doesn't reduce damage you take, but obviously if you have more health, you're able to take a larger hit and be healed up after that by your healers. And finally you have Ravager if you choose to go obviously with that talent, and that one just basically increases your parry chance by 30%. So that's it for your defensive cooldowns. Let's move on to your utility, and this is a really cool part, guys. it's your utility. As a Prot warrior, you have loads of this shit. And let's start with intervene. Intervene, that you should always have macro on to a mouse over macro, basically makes the person you intervened to not take the next hit, and instead you are gonna take it, right? So intervene is a really cool spell. Say your off tank or your main tank is gonna take a really large hit and it doesn't have a cooldown, and you do. You just pop your cooldown, intervene the guy, and you're gonna take the hit, and that's really cool. But you need to know how to use it, and you can also use safeguard instead of it, and it's gonna basically do the same thing, but you're gonna put a 20% damage reduction for 6 seconds on the person you intervened, right? So that's a really good spell, intervene or safeguard, but have in mind you're gonna lose vigilance on the process, and probably it depends on the situation, but most of the time you want vigilance instead. After that, you've got Shockwave. Shockwave is a really good spell if you're taking many ads, because you're gonna stun them, and it's very good defensively, but offensively you will want to go with Dragon's Roar, because that does more damage. Also have in mind that Shockwave has its cooldown reduced by 20 seconds if you hit more than 3 targets, so you should try to always do that. After Shockwave, you've got Heroic Leap. Everyone does what fucking Heroic Leap does. You just leap away to, you have a 40-yard range, and you just target wherever you want to go to, and you just leap there. It's really simple. It's a really cool spell. You also have Heroic Throw, which does a shit ton of fucking threat, and people don't know this. But if there's ad spawning in fucking Veil's room, you just Heroic Throw them and they will come to you. I'm telling you now, they will come to you, that's for sure. Heroic Throw, then you have Mocking Banner, which everyone knows what that does. Even if you never played a fucking Prot warrior in your life, Mocking Banner just makes everything in range, in like a 30-yard range, to fucking attack you. And also, obviously, if you have the Glyph, it's gonna attack the current tank instead of you. You've got Spell Reflection, which basically just reflects the next spell cast on you. And last, you've got Vigilance, which is just 30% damage reduction that you should use on demand. So if someone asks you for Vigilance, if you have rotation on externals that your raid leader asked for, then you're gonna use that. Vigilance is a really cool spell. So let's move on to stat priority. Obviously your first stat is gonna be bonus armor, because you're a tank, and it doesn't matter what class you're playing, as long as it's a tank, your first stat is always gonna be bonus armor, right? After that, you want mastery. Mastery, because it's gonna make your shield barriers go higher. Mastery is gonna make your chance to block higher, right? And your chance to critically block, and it's also gonna increase your attack power, right? So this is your mastery. This is your main thing. You want a lot of block as a Prot warrior, right? After that, there are 2 different choices that you can make. You can either choose to go critical strike, which is what I do on this very same character I'm showing you now, or you can go versatility, and I do that on my other warrior. But if you only have one, obviously you'll have to choose in between the 2 of them, or you're just gonna get two different sets of gear, right? But if you can't afford to do that, just choose one. Critical strike makes you have more parry and makes you do more damage overall, and versatility is also going to make you do more damage, although critical strike pulls a bit ahead, and it's also going to reduce the damage you take by a percentage. So versatility is not to underestimate. Versatility is really good, especially if you're high end and you just want to go defensively. Versatility is a very good stat for a Prot warrior. After versatility, you go multi-strike. After versatility or crit, whatever you choose, you go multi-strike. because multi-strike's gonna be it's gonna make your multi-strike auto attacks trigger blood craze, and blood craze, I'm gonna show you now. Blood craze makes you heal by 3% over. It's gonna heal you. It's gonna make you generate 3% or your health over 3 seconds. So this is really cool, and this is the reason why you want multi-strike after crit or versatility, and then obviously haste is gonna be your last stat. So this is it for stat priority. You just choose whatever you want, and have in mind what you can get, what items you can get. If you can get all of them, obviously, then you're gonna make just 2 sets, right? So after the utility and stats, let's move on to the talk about your mindsets, right? It's not a big talk, but it's important for you to know what's your mindset, right? If you're playing more defensively, if you're high-end raider, or if you want to play your warrior like in progress fights, or if you want to go like, say, you're just farming shit, you're just farming Blackrock Foundry Heroic or something, then you can go more offensively. And the way you do this is, and I'm going to show you now, you go with Ravager, because that does a lot of AoE damage. You go with Blade Storm if it's an AoE fight, and you go with, and I'm not really sure here, but for what I've tried myself, I think Avatar pulls ahead of Bloodbath on single target fights. And obviously you're gonna go with Dragon's Roar too, and you're just gonna blast them all with your Ravager, Blade Storm, Dragon's Roar combo, and you're gonna be just fucking awesome as a pro warrior on damage. And obviously if you wanna go more defensively, then you're gonna choose either Ravager and Gladiator's Resolve. This one really depends on which fight you're doing, or what's your role in it. And then you can just always go with Avatar, or Bloodbath. Bloodbath is really the safe choice here, because it's only 1 minute cooldown, and you don't lose your defensive side. You don't lose your active mitigation, like if you're blade storming. And then you go Shockwave, because obviously you can stun. If you're tanking many ads, you can just stun them, right? So this is your different mindsets. Just know what you are and what your raid group is, and just choose what you're gonna do with your Prot warrior. Also, I forgot to mention about the tier sets. Personally, I only use the 2-piece, which makes your Shield Slam have 8% chance to automatically, fucking hell, I can't speak, cast Shield Block. So that's really good to improve your active mitigation, right? And your 4-piece is not that great, at least I don't think it is. It just, when your shield block is active, your shield block value is increased by 5%, right? And the reason why I don't think this is as beneficial is because obviously you can have different stats on your gear, right? And say for example, I'm using this helmet for tier because I don't have anything else to have as a tier piece, so I can keep my 2-set bonus. But if I did, I'd choose the legs because they've got crit mastery, which is the stats I'm going for on this warrior, and I'd still keep the shoulders, although it's mastery haste, but it's cool because it's got mastery. While the helmet only has crit and multi-strike, so these are offensive stats, right? And if I didn't have this helmet and I had the legs instead, I'd be choosing the one from Hans and Franz, and that one is mastery and versatility. So this would be a really good helmet defensively wise. So that's the reason why I only use the 2-piece. I've spoken about your sub priority. I've spoken about the tier pieces. I've spoken about your mindsets, And for last, I saved the trinkets, right? And the reason why I saved the trinkets for last is because you also have a choice. And I can teach you, not teach you, but I can tell you my personal preference, right? But I cannot tell you what you should do, right? Because that depends on you, on which boss you're doing, on your raid group, on your healers, and you must know, you must judge that by yourself, right? So you've got 6 trinkets throughout the entire tier 17, and those trinkets are Paul's Blinding Eye from the twins, the twin Orgons in Heimel. You've got Pillar of the Earth from Texas, also in Heimel. You've got Evergaze Arcane Eidolon from Imperator in Heimel. And then in Blackrock Foundry, you've got Battering Talisman from Blackhand. You've got Blast Furnace Door from, obviously, Blast Furnace. And you've got Tablet of the Turnbuckle Teamwork. I don't know what the fuck names this shit. But these are the trinkets, right? And the important thing you must know here is if you can get all the trinkets, then yes, fine, awesome. You can just, you can change them according to the fight, right? But if you cannot, then you've got a really important choice to make. I'm gonna make things easier for you. If you're using the Mastery Versatility build, Pillar of the Earth is the go-to choice because it's got more versatility. So it's gonna be a really cool trinket for that build. It's also got stamina and bonus armor, so it's a really safe choice. It's got really good stats defensively wise. After that, I just ignore Battering Talisman because it does nothing for you apart from giving you a ridiculous amount of fucking stamina. But then it's got haste, so you don't need haste. Haste is your fucking last stat, so just leave that one. And you've got a choice to make because it's a combo, right? You've got 2 trinkets, right? So you gotta choose the best combo if you can't get them all. Personally, I'm using the Blackrock Foundry combo, which is Blast Furnace Door and the Tablet of Turnbuckle Teamwork. So this one has bonus armor on passive, right? And it's got mastery on equip, and you've got mastery on passive with the other one, and you've got armor on equip. This one is really cool. I love this trinket because say for example you're tanking Chromog, right? And Chromog is a fucking bitch for tanks, right? And even as a high geared fucking Prot warrior, you're gonna struggle with that one, I'm telling you now. So what it does basically, say you've got 2 stacks, right? And you're about to get the 3rd stack, and those stacks fucking rape your armor apart, right? And you're getting the 3rd stack, you just pop the armor trinket, right? And you're just gonna say, Chromog, suck my dick. I've got my armor back. You can't beat me, bitch. And you're just gonna be king on that fight with that trinket. It's fucking brilliant. I'm telling you now, you're just gonna be a king with that trinket on that fight, right? Unless you're playing a monk, because monks fucking destroy everything there. But if you've got that trinket, you're gonna be really fucking good. So you just make the choice to have unused trinkets or to have unequipped trinkets. You choose if you need more bonus armor, if you need more mastery, and then you just make the combo you want and you'd prefer, and you're gonna do fine. So that's it for me. I really enjoyed making this video. I love Prot Warrior, it's a really good class. And if you enjoyed it too, if you have any questions, just don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'll try to answer all the questions I can, and just have fun on your Prot Warrior. That's the most important thing. Just have fun. Bye bye guys.